scientists discovered a mysterious and ancient creature that feasted on human teeth, particularly fond of decayed ones, with sharp claws and teeth. These creatures, known as tooth fairies, attacked in swarms, leaving nothing alive in their wake. This tale dates back to an era when Earth was home to many different species living in harmony. However, human greed knew no bounds, and they sought to conquer the world through war. King Baylor, unwilling to witness this, created an indestructible army called the Golden Army, crafted with magical spells. They were controlled by a crown. With the power of the Golden Army, they defeated the humans and nearly took over the world. Tired of endless slaughter, Elf King Baylor declared a truce, splitting the crown controlling the Golden Army into 3 pieces, held jointly by elves and humans to maintain peace. However, Prince Nuada never trusted humans and always yearned to reignite the war. Thus, King Baylor exiled him. For 3,000 years, Nuada lived in filthy sewers, honing his martial skills, aiming to restart the war and defeat humanity. One day, Nuada learned of a perfect opportunity, a grand public auction held by humans, featuring the human-guarded piece of the crown. Nuada appeared at the auction, swiftly beheading the security chief and cutting off the power supply. He then placed a box in the center of the hall. Before the guards could react, a creature wielding a hammer crashed into the auction. The hammer returned to its monstrous owner, who blocked the exit with another heavy box. Nuada, annoyed by the auctioneer's noisy protests, silenced him by throwing a sticky creature at him. After seizing the crown piece, Nuada released a swarm of tooth fairies, which devoured everyone in the hall in an instant. Soon, the attack news reached the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, housing special agents under government supervision to handle supernatural events. Among them were Abe, with extraordinary sensory abilities, and Liz, capable of controlling high-temperature flames. However, most missions were led by Hellboy, the son of Satan. Upon receiving the mission, the team rushed to the auction site. As expected, no living soul was found, and oddly, not even bodies remained. Searching for clues, they discovered a small creature in a dark corner, enjoying a human tooth. According to Abe's notes, these creatures were the legendary tooth fairies, apparently having devoured all the people there. Suddenly, a tooth fairy attacked a nearby agent. Fortunately, Hellboy grabbed and crushed it before it could burrow into the agent's stomach. Before they could catch their breath, more tooth fairies swarmed from behind the walls, dismembering and devouring an agent in seconds. The dense tooth fairies soon covered the whole room and the guns were useless. As more of them closed in, Liz signaled everyone to find hiding spots and then awakened her intense internal flames. Seeing Liz about to unleash her powers, Hellboy discreetly moved to a window, ready to jump out and escape. As Liz ignited, a fiery blaze spread across the room, destroying everything. Hellboy was blown out of the window and exposed to the public, and the surprised crowd was full of curiosity to watch. Also falling down were the last 2 surviving tooth fairies. As they prepared to attack the crowd, they were suddenly shot dead, and Hellboy stood unscathed under a car. The once secret mission was now exposed by the media, prompting headquarters to send Johann Kraus, a mysterious spiritual energy expert, to take command. Johann immediately set about reviving a dead tooth fairy to gather information. He activated a switch on his finger, channeling smoke into the tooth fairy's mouth, miraculously bringing it back to life. Under Johann's questioning, Tooth Fairy told the truth. They all came from an underground market and the person who bought them is still there. The team headed to the entrance of the underground market, finding the door locked and guarded by a troll disguised as an old lady. Hellboy punched the troll away in frustration. When the troll refused to open the door, a cranky Hellboy punched it away. When they were at a loss, Johann unscrewed a switch in his chest and released some gas, opening the gate with ease. This is the isolated world of the demons, inhabited by a group of creatures with magical powers. The team split up to search for clues. Hellboy learned from a monster that the Tooth Fairies were purchased by Prince Nuada. Abe encountered Princess Nuala, who had fled the Elf Kingdom to stop her brother Nuada from waging war against humans. Nuala had taken the map and the crown piece that recorded the location of the Golden Army. They decided to join forces, but danger was closing in. Nuada's henchman Wink arrived, forcing Nuala to flee. Abe, caught off guard, was thrown by Wink but narrowly escaped using a puddle of water. In the nick of time, Hellboy arrives in time to shoot 2 bullets and save Abe. Wink knocked down Hellboy with his hammer, infuriating him. Hellboy unleashed a series of heavy punches, but Wink surprisingly withstood all the attacks. A bit of a scramble there and Wink tries to end the fight with his deadly iron fist, but Hellboy avoids it easily. Wink's iron fist was stuck in the crusher, and Wink was crushed into pieces by the crusher. They rendezvous and prepare to evacuate, but are stopped by Nuada, who arrives at the scene. He opened a golden egg, revealing a green bean, and after uttering an attack command, dropped it into the sewer. A massive green elemental emerged, a being with the power to give and destroy life. The elemental spirit had grown into a humanoid plant that was huge but agile. Seeing this, Hellboy opened his weapon box and started to load his pistol, but Hellboy, despite aiming for a long time, just couldn't bring himself to shoot, because the elemental elf is the last of their race. If he kills it, the race will be extinct forever. However, the situation was urgent and Hellboy had no choice but to pull the trigger. Nuala sensed her brother's intrusion into the research center and hid the crown piece in a book. She tried to burn the map, but the heat revealed its secrets. Nuada then imprinted the map on a table. Hellboy quickly arrived at the scene, ready to face Nuada alone, confident in his ability to win. However, due to the unique physiology of the elf species, any injury Nuada suffered would also be inflicted on Nuala. Thus, Hellboy fought hesitantly, never fully unleashing his power, and was eventually defeated by Nuada with a surprise counterattack. Before leaving, Nuada informed them that to save Hellboy and the princess, they must bring him the last piece of the crown. Afterward, Hellboy was taken to surgery. Abe attempted to remove the spear tip, but it only drove deeper into Hellboy's heart with every touch. With no other choice, the team was forced to seek out Nuada. Following the map, they successfully reached their destination. To enter the underground world, they had to meet the demands of a goblin, who wanted the treasure embedded in Hellboy's chest. Fortunately, he knew someone who could help remove the tip. The goblin blew a whistle around his neck, and a giant hand emerged from the ground. When its huge body was fully revealed, it turned out to be a stone man that had been sleeping for thousands of years. And this stone man was the gateway to the underground world. The goblin brought them here because he could help extract the spearhead from Hellboy's chest. The condition was the rare spearhead would be his after removal. However, the extractor wasn't the goblin but the angel of death from hell. Hellboy, unable to hold on any longer, collapsed. The Angel of Death immediately recognized Hellboy and warned that saving him would bring disaster upon humanity. As Hellboy's destiny was to destroy the world, Liz had to choose between saving Hellboy or the world. Without hesitation, she chose to save her love. As soon as Liz said that, the half-head of the gun appeared in Angel of Death's hand, and all that was left to do was to wake up Hellboy.
Perché diventerai padre.
As soon as Liz said that, Hellboy woke up. The fate of mankind has been sealed. The Angel of Death dropped the spearhead and disappeared into the void. Led by the goblin, they finally met the legendary The Golden Army. Nuada had long awaited their arrival, demanding the last piece of the crown for the princess's release. Unexpectedly, Abe handed over the crown piece without a second thought. Nuada collected all the crown pieces as he wanted, but he didn't keep his promise and didn't release the princess. Nuada then assembled the crowns and chanted the spell to activate the Golden Army, and all the Golden Warriors were awakened at that moment. At Nuada's command, they attacked the crowd. With no choice left, they fought the Golden Army. Hellboy, wielding his specialized pistol, shattered the surrounding Golden Warriors into pieces. Johann released steam from his body to control one of the Golden Warriors, turning its red energy to blue, then counterattacked the others. Together, they quickly reduced the first wave of Golden Warriors to rubble. However, these legendary Golden Warriors had finally shown their terrifying features. All the broken parts seemed to have a consciousness of their own and miraculously reassemble themselves, proving their indestructibility. As the Golden Army grew, Hellboy remembered a story Trevor told him. Defeating the holder of the crown could grant control over the Golden Army, but only someone of royal blood could challenge. Upon challenge, Nuada was obliged to accept. The intense battle escalated from the ground to the gears. The moving gears hindered Hellboy, gradually putting him at a disadvantage. Nuada's deadly strikes aimed to kill Hellboy, who sought a counterattack opportunity in the gears' interstices. Seizing a moment of Nuada's laxity, Hellboy ambushed from behind, throwing him down. Picking up a spear, Hellboy subdued Nuada, accepting his defeat. Nuada only asked for a swift end, knowing Nuada's death would also kill Nuala. Hellboy spared him, removing the crown and letting Nuada go, but Hellboy just wanted to turn around and leave. But Nuada was not willing to lose and drew his dagger to attack Hellboy. Suddenly, blood flowed from Nuada's chest. Nuala had chosen suicide. Their lives interconnected. Nuala sacrificed their lives to uphold the peace pact between elves and humans. Nuada collapses with regret and resignation. In his last moments, Nuada spoke to Hellboy and asked him to choose between the humans and his people. Nuada died before them, and Nuala closed her eyes in Abe's arms to prevent this dangerous power from being used by the bad guys. Liz melted the crown into gold water, and with that, the Golden Army fell into the ground forever,